What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the AEW Week in Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry, editor of Pro Wrestling News Hub, covering pro wrestling and not sports entertainment. On this week's show, we have a special recap of AEW All Out, plus the Dark episode, plus the whole Matt Hardy situation. So without further ado, folks, let's just get into this special AEW Week in Review. We have the results for AEW Dark for that special Friday night edition, the go-home show Dark, I guess, before we get to AEW All Out. First up, The Butcher and the Blade defeated Fabio Andre and D3. Allie defeated Red Velvet, a fan favorite at Pro Wrestling News Hub, Red Velvet, that is, not Allie. Colt Cabana in his funky-looking jacket defeated Zach Clayton. I believe Zach Clayton, I think he's been around before. The Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix defeated Ryzine and Angel Perez. Angel Perez, I think this was his first time on AEW Dark. Pentagon Jr. supposedly is changing his name. Stay tuned for that one due to some legal stuff with AAA in Mexico or something. Ivelisse defeated Kaylin King, a singles match. Good to see Ivelisse out there. Women's division is starting to pick up some pace. The Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds get a win. They defeated Sean Dean and Brandon Bullock. I know Brandon Bullock, this was his first time on AEW Dark. In our co-main event, Darby Allin defeated Luther. We can get rid of Luther. Just don't tell Jericho. Darby Allin defeated Luther in a singles match. This actually one wasn't too bad for a Luther match. Actually, it looked pretty good, but it could have been working with Darby Allin. So we'll see what they do with Luther. Finally, our other co-main event, the Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall, defeated Dark Order, Preston Vance, and Allen Angels. And next up is AEW All Out on Saturday. We have AEW All Out recap with our winners, grades, and highlights. First up, we had the buy-in match with two buy-in matches. One, Serpentico versus Joey Janela. Winner, Joey Janela. We gave that a 2.5. That was an okay match. Next up, tag team match, Private Party versus the Dark Order. 3 and 4, Alex Reynolds and John Silvers. This actually was a really good match, and I was really impressed by Dark Order. But the winner, Private Party, I gave this a 3.25 stars. So far, the buy-in was really good. I mean, this was a really good match. This was my elite match of the night, of course, until we got into the main show. Main show, Dr. Britt Baker against Big Swole. Winner, Big Swole, graded that a 2.75. That was a pretty good, interesting match, fun kind of thing. It is what it is. It wasn't, the Stadium Stampede level, but it was still a fun match just to kind of kick things off. Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus Jungle Boy. This was my elite match of the night. I gave this a 3.75. The winner is the Young Bucks. This was the best match of the night. The Young Bucks, to me, have been killing it for the last couple months. As just their matches, the way they're booked, they're so interesting, fun to watch. They've been killing it all for the last couple months. 21-man, really since they've been back since the virus stuff. The 21-man Casino Battle Royale. So we have Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston, The Blade, The Butcher, Ray Phoenix, Pentagon Jr., who changed his name, Trent, Will Hobbs. He was a dark guy that was in there. Santana Ortiz, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Billy Gunn, Jake Hager, Chuck Taylor, Sean Spears, Sonny Kiss, Matt Sydal debuted. And we have, if you haven't seen his debut, which was great, but his botch was a little embarrassing. But we were glad he's okay. Winner was Lance Archer. We gave this a 3.0. This is good, and this kind of laid it out for me that I figured Jon Moxley was going to win. So a Lance Archer Jon Moxley match seems to be pretty good because, the last time he went up against a monster and like Jake Hager, that was boring. I'm not a big fan of Jake Hager. But this was a fun match. Gave it a 3. Broken Rules match. Yeah. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. They actually took the video down of when Matt Hardy fell. They went through the scaffolding, hit a table. Matt Hardy hit his head. It looked like he was knocked out. They kept the match going. They called the match. They did the X. Aubrey Edwards did the X. Then the trainer came out, checked him out. The match was over, and then all of a sudden they restarted it. Matt Hardy still looked dazed the whole time. I don't know why he passed any kind of concussion protocol. That is just a joke. There's just no, I just don't understand. They finished the match. It was sloppy. It was just a mess and really kind of took the fire out of the crowd. I gave this a 2 because it was just the match should have been called. I don't care what anybody says. People who watched it at home, that match should have been called. No question about it. Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa. This was a good match. I gave this one a 3.0. I wish Thunder Rosa was part of the roster because definitely she's legit. Hikaru Shida is legit. This was a great match. Some people were saying one of the best women's matches that AEW has had. I would definitely say it's the best women's match they've had in a long time. I don't know if it necessarily was the best. Remember Riho, everybody? But I gave this a 3. The tag team match, the Dark Order, Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson versus the Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky. This was a good match as well. The Natural Nightmares, Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky win. They turned on Colt Cabana. He kind of messed up. He could have gotten the win. Good storytelling, so we'll see what happens with Colt and the Dark Order. Does Colt get kicked out of the Dark Order? He hasn't been there for very long. AEW World Tag Team Champions, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus FTR. Your new champions, FTR. I give this a 2.75. Slow. I'm not a big FTR fan. I know they're like, we're the best tag team in the world, and other people are like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I know I'm missing something. Maybe it's just not my style. I'm just not a big FTR fan. I kind of feel like they're a little overrated. This match was just kind of slow. Nothing really going on. I don't know, Kenny Omega was in there a lot. It started to pick up towards the end. That's why I gave it a 2.75. But your new tag champions are FTR. We'll see what happens with Kenny Omega. We'll see what happens with Hangman Page. That's the most interesting part of this whole match. The Mimosa Mayhem match, Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy was your winner. I was pretty surprised by this. I gave this one a 2.75 as well. It wasn't like that interesting. I'm just surprised by the finish. I wouldn't say it was like the best match of the night. I mean, it was an okay match. So I gave it a 2.75, but Orange Cassidy with the win. I was really surprised by that. So we'll see where this all leads Cassidy and where this all leads Jericho. Finally, Jon Moxley versus MJF. Winner Jon Moxley. Again, I gave this one a 2.75 as well. It was a good match. It wasn't the match of the night, but Jon Moxley is your winner and still champion, and will probably face Lance Archer in the next pay-per-view. And that build-up should be interesting. And it will be also interesting to see where we go with MJF's character as well. And Wardlow, because he was saying that Wardlow cost him the match. But overall, it was still a great night of wrestling and a great pay-per-view. And I'm never disappointed with an AEW show or pay-per-view compared to the other brand. But all in all, it was a fun night of wrestling. Matt Hardy was sent to the hospital during AEW All Out. We have the latest update on that. So AEW star Matt Hardy was taken to the hospital following his match with Sammy Guevara at AEW All Out. Guevara and Hardy took a bad bump off a forklift in the backstage area during the match. The fall caused the back of Matt's head to basically hit the floor. It was clear to fans watching the pay-per-view that something was wrong because Matt lay there motionless and referee Aubrey Edwards, frankly, just looked panicked. As the match continued, Hardy had trouble getting to his feet, so he took the scary bump. There was like this delay. The match was briefly stopped, but Matt and AEW doctor talked. The match restarted. Despite Matt being fine, quote unquote, to wrestle, they went directly to the finish with Guevara falling off a piece of the set and Hardy getting the win. There were a bunch of awkward spots. The problem is that Hardy had to win. If not, he would have had to leave AEW per the match stipulations. However, anyone could have written a storyline around that. This is wrestling, and we've seen that he was hurt. So we could have gotten around it. And the match finished. And later, during All Out, Tony Schiavone announced that Matt is expected to be okay, and he explained that Dr. Sampson cleared him to continue the wrestling. However, None of this went over well with Reba Hardy, Matt's wife. Quote, let me be absolutely bleeping clear. There was nothing entertaining about a concussion. Shame on everyone in that goddamn building. Close quote. After the show, Tony Khan addressed the decision to let Matt Hardy wrestle.
And I just wanted to give everybody an update on Matt Hardy, and that is most importantly, Matt is okay and looks like Matt's going to be okay. What happened with Matt was Matt had taken a fall on the match, and I stopped the match, paused the match, and sent the doctor to check on him.
Tony continued by stating he was concerned Hardy could be hurt, which is why he rang the bell and paused the match.
When the doctor checked on him, the doctor had passed him and cleared him on the protocol. He checked with Matt, and then Matt had come back after, and he passed the concussion protocol, and he's doing okay. I spoke to him right after the match, and then again just now. He went as a precaution to the hospital just for tests to check out that he's okay, but it looks like he's okay, which is why the doctor cleared him to continue. It was not something any of us enjoyed, and it was something that was a scary moment. But the most important thing is that Matt is okay, and we're all really glad about that.
A follow-up question asked about the incident and the amount of time passed to clear Matt.
So I never would have gone against the doctor's decision, and most importantly, Matt would not have been able to overrule the doctor's decision, not with the doctor himself or with me. And so that is what happened. The doctor cleared him, which is the first and foremost important thing.
Khan later stated that Dr. Sampson has pulled plenty of people from shows without hesitation in the past, and they are strict on wrestlers' health and well-being.
Great. Okay. Well, the doctor did clear him. Matt did not pressure him, and Dr. Sampson would not be pressured into clearing anybody. He's pulled people from our shows without hesitation, whether it's been, for over something with a blood test or with an injury. And he's really strict about that stuff, and that's why when people have had injuries that he didn't feel comfortable about people doing physicality or wrestling with, we never put those people.
Tony stated the doctor cleared him, which is an important thing, and Matt wanted to continue.
Matt also did want to continue, but the doctor cleared him. So at that point, when the doctor cleared him to continue, Matt clearly wanted to continue. That's why.
Now, on Sunday morning, Reba, his wife, provided an update on her husband, Matt, via Twitter and said he is still in the hospital, and despite what is being reported, he does have a concussion. Quote, they need additional imaging done after his CT. He's still in the hospital, 1,000% concussion. Anyone with eyes could have told you that, though. Later, Reba password protected her Twitter account, so we can no longer see her tweets. She was pretty angry and on Twitter voicing such. Pro Wrestling News Hub will keep you posted on this ongoing story, but so far it seems like as of we are posting this, Matt Hardy is still in the hospital, but all signs point that he will be okay, and we get past this very scary moment during AEW All Out. All right, my friends, that's it for this special AEW All Out episode of the AEW Week In Review, I should say. That's it for me, folks. We'll see you at the normal time. Thanks for listening. Mahalo. We'll see you next week at our normal time. That's it for me, folks. Mahalo, God bless, and I will see you all later.